Thank you very much for logging in. We'll just start with the word of prayer. Let's humble ourselves for a prayer. Father in heaven, we want to thank you for this evening. We thank you for the gift of life. We also thank you for the gift of technology, that we are able to gather in different locations, different areas, and that we are able to learn together. We commit this session into your hands. Lord, we pray that it will go smoothly. We pray that we will not have any internet and any internet connection problems. We pray that the gadgets will work, and above all, that we will be in one accord. Thank you for our facilitator, Lilian. We ask that you will use her. May you anoint her, that even as she speaks to us, she will speak from your oracles and bring a word for this season. And for everyone who is on this call and those who are yet to join, we pray that you prepare our hearts, that will be receptive to each and everything that you want to teach us. We thank you and we pray all this, believing and trusting in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Amen. Welcome once again. I don't know, were all of us in the last session? By show of hands, is there anyone who was in the last session? You can raise your digital hand just to give Lilian a semblance of those who are here for the first time and those who were here. Okay, is anyone joining us? This is your first of the no one is in the mood to speak. Okay, Gloria is joining us for the first time. Welcome, Gloria. So for those who were here last time, do you want to give a brief recap of what you learned? Before we started, Lilian was wondering if we had learned from the previous session. So is there anyone who wants to share something that they learned? Okay, Joanita says she's joining for the first time too. Welcome, Joanita. So does anyone want to share what they learned? Okay, okay, James is also joining for the first time. All right, I think it falls to me to share what I learned. Last week, last Tuesday, Lilian took us through several ways of identifying a viable business idea. And for me, actually, the take home from the session was that ideas are all around. You just have to pay attention to see which idea you can actually turn into a business. And the other takeaway is that business ideas can either be opportunities or problems. And the best way to identify them is actually to see the very problems that you suffer as an individual and see how you can solve the problem and replicate the solution for others. So that was the takeaway. And the other takeaway for me was that not every business has to be a result of passion. Some businesses are actually you're solving an ordinary problem, which you can turn into a business. So those were my takeaways from the last session. Does anyone else have anything to share? Does anyone else have anything to share? Okay. if there is no one else, it's yet again my singular honor to invite our speaker. This is a 4-part series which began last week. So for today and for the next 2 weeks, I will be building on to what we started last week. And to take us through is someone who doesn't need introduction, at least if you live in East Africa. Lilian Katiso is a celebrity in Uganda, Kenya, and other parts of Africa. She's more famous for turning her passion or her hobby into a business. Apologies, there's a business opportunity right there. So I was saying that Lilian is a sought-after professional. She runs Zadok Associates, where she's the managing partner or the CEO. She's also the proprietor of Mau and Mo, which is a leading provider of flowers in Kampala with a number of outlets across the city. She's also an SCCA fellow. Above all, she has a passion for empowering small businesses, which she does as a consultant. She has also served with BNI, where she's one of the leaders. BNI is Business Network International, which is also a business association that helps entrepreneurs grow their businesses. There is a lot that we can say about her. Last week, when I attempted to read her profile, it was covering 10 pages. So in the interest of time, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Lilian Katiso to take us away. Welcome, Lilian.
Thank you, Elijah, for the kind introduction. And it looks like most people today are all new, eh? Most people here are new, but it's okay. So if you're on the call, you can, do you already have a business or you're looking to start a business? You can please type in the chat so that I know where you are. Do you already have a business or you're still looking at starting a business? When I share my presentation mode, I'm not able to read the messages, Elijah, so you may have to read for me if you don't mind, if anyone types in. Do you have a business or you're looking to start a business?
So the James says yet to start one, but he closed one. Joanita says she's wishing to start one. Emma says looking to start another business, meaning he has one. Gloria looking to start one. Myself, I have a business and I'm looking to start another one.
Another one. Okay, that's a good one. So assuming that that we went through the exercise for last week and actually yeah, so if we went through the exercise for last week, which the assignment was to look for different business opportunities. So today we're to evaluate those business opportunities that you came up with, because you'll have a list of more than one, ideally. Then from there, you narrow down to which one would work for you. And another thing we're going to look at is some basic, and the key word there note is basic business plan. Okay, so it's not a World Bank 100-page business plan, but a basic business plan. And maybe a spoiler alert is to let you know that there are some businesses like Mo and Mo, I didn't start it with a business plan. But remember, the reason the professionals are having this program is to be able to fund some businesses. So if you're looking especially for external funding, it means then you have to be able to write a what? A business plan. If you're not talking, I'll be happy if you mute yourself so that we can all be together. So if you're intending to get funding from anybody apart from yourself, if you're not intending to bootstrap, then you will have to write a business plan, because that's how you communicate to the other person what you intend to do with the money that you are asking them to give you. So this slide was the last slide of the last session. And is it Juanita who asked if you can get notes from the last session? There was a recording. Maybe, I don't know if Elijah will be able to share the link for the recording for the last meeting in the chat, or someone can be able to do that. And then there was an exercise as well, a list of 100 and something business options that you can consider which one works for you. So yes, Juanita, there was a recording and there was something that was shared in the group. I don't know if you're in the professionals group. If you are, it was shared there. If you are not, you can get in touch with Elijah and anybody in the leadership team there to support you in that. But what I had requested us to do in the last session was to do this, walk around in your neighborhood, identify an opportunity that could be existing there, and you take advantage of it. Even today, Elijah's already given us a challenge. When you have internet hiccups, that's a business opportunity to solve the problem there. It happened to me last meeting as well. Someone could be having a frustration, everyday frustration that you can solve. Sometimes you might just find it's just an idea that is there that you can flip and make profit out of it. Or you could be having a lot of something could be a waste for someone else that for you it can actually be an opportunity. And we give an example of garbage collection. It's garbage that people don't want out in their homes, but someone else is starting a business of collecting waste from people's homes and neighborhoods and turning that into a business opportunity. So as we finish the session, we said the opportunity is already out there. You just have to do what? Go and find it. So we're going to go into today's session. And what I'll do, since I saw quite a number of people are coming for the first time, I'm going to also do a bit of a recap as well, yeah? Now, once you've identified the business ideas that are there, you have to assess if you have the right, there's a quiz I came across some time back, if you have the right personality for the business. Because there are some people who can do a product-based business, another one can do a service-based business, different types of businesses. So do you have the ability to do, or the personality that can work well with that business? Is also very, very important, unless you're able to partner with someone who will complement you on your area of weakness. So some of these 9 things are some things that you ask yourself, will you be able to prioritize that business? If you go into business, you cannot, I don't know how to say, you cannot do it when you feel like. When you when you start a business, you have to go all in. It's like a serious, I was going to say it's serious business. When you go into business, you have to give it your all, okay? You have to prioritize it so that you do all that it takes for it to succeed. But another thing that you need to be able to do is to be able to see the big picture of the business. Sometimes we find that we have to start small, but as I normally say, starting small doesn't mean that you're going to remain small. Starting small means that you're just willing to start, but then you're willing to do whatever it takes to make the business grow big. When I started Maua and More, for those who are not there last week, Maua and More is a business born out of my gardening hobby. And I started it from home 12 years ago now. And at that time, I was just having fun and doing some small time hustle, as we call it, from home. But now it's become a fully fledged business with 3 outlets and employing several number of people. So when you can see the big picture, you are not afraid to start small and grow it, yeah? But another thing, an attribute, so some of these are more of like attributes of a good entrepreneur, is to be able to have the ability to handle stress. If you have no ability to handle stress, okay, yes, the person talking, if you have no ability to handle stress, you will find that one of the things that happens to business is there's always pressure coming from somewhere. Without an appointment, nothing tells you that is going to happen. And last week, I was giving the example of a bouquet of roses. A bouquet of roses is really beautiful, but do you know every rose has a thorn? But most of the time, we don't focus on the thorn, we focus on the rose. And in business, the thorn will be there. There will be different things. It could be URA, it could be some other regulation, it could be customers, it could be suppliers, it could be your workers. It could be different things that are happening. It could be umeme disturbing you, especially if you're in manufacturing and you're using power. So there could be different pressure points. How are you able to handle that? But also ability to take risk. Yeah, I think one of the questions Elijah asked me last week is, have I ever had a business that failed? I'm just paraphrasing it. And so are you able at some point to accept that, this business might fail? And if it fails, it's not the end of the world. Okay. How do you pivot or move on to something else? But also having the ability to make decisions in business is very, very important. You don't blame someone else because it failed because of so and so. No, you as a business owner, you take responsibility and you don't pass the buck to somebody else. If your business is towards community engagement, solving a problem in the community, will you be able to rally the community and have a social advancement? You will drive a social advancement towards that cause that you're hoping to initiate. Because remember, we said opportunities come in different forms. Some are community-based opportunities. And in that case, it means you have to be able to rally a community around that project. If, let's say, you're building a well, drilling a well, or something like that, yeah? Are you able to look for social support, or do you already have social support towards your idea? Maybe your friends or your families are ready to back you. Sometimes they might not necessarily be willing to back you. But for me, I was fortunate that my husband was very supportive and willing to back me up with my more and more projects. I remember even before it became a business, because it was a hobby, it was something that I used to do for fun or more like for therapy. And so every weekend I'll go plant flowers, and you'll take me around shopping for the flowers and planting them. And I remember one time being an accountant by profession, the profession is very, very hectic and very stressful at some point. And I remember one Friday, I really had a very bad day at work and I was feeling so stressed. And then I said, let's go and buy flowers. So I went and we bought flowers. And at night, I think it was about 7. I know it was dark. So he had to put the car floodlights, the car lights, for me to plant the flowers. Yeah, so he was willing to help me with that. And so I planted them, and after that, I felt the relief of the tension because of the therapy. I'm just saying, some of us are blessed to have supportive social system. Are you able to rally some for your business? If it's not family, it's friends. But also, what is your financial situation? Are you going to raise money from your savings, from yourselves? We call that bootstrapping. Or are you seeking to get credit? Or do you have enough savings that you can use? So if you don't have savings that you can use, then you are willing, if you're planning to get money from other people, you have to be willing to do what? Write a business plan, because that is how you can convince someone else to lend you money for your business. But above all, you have to be able to learn how to run a business. Most of the time when you go into business, not because you went to an entrepreneurship course or you went to a business school to learn how to do business, you find that you're running your business out of passion for a particular thing or a problem that you're solving. But you need to learn the management skills to run this business. You need to, for those who were there last week, I hope you remember I gave you flowers when we finished the session. Yes, you have to be able to have the flowers. And if you will indulge me, please type what the flowers stand for in the chat for those who are not there, that they can know. Yeah. So be able to work on your flowers so that you can have your business thrive. So identify the areas of your weakest link and find, can you partner with someone else to fill in that gap if you are not able to do it? Okay. Elijah, you tell me if someone is typing in the flowers in the chat so that you remember what the flowers were. So the next thing that you have to do, and this is more like a recap, you define where are you going to play in the business ideas, opportunities that are there. So assume you went and you came up with 4 or 5 or 10 possible business opportunities. You have to narrow down and say, what are you actually going to do? Are you going to go into making something to sell? That would be in manufacturing, for example. So you're taking a particular raw material to create a new product, okay? So now that one will be a business type of manufacturing or making something. Or you could decide that your business is in the service provision. You're actually doing something, okay? So you're selling your expertise, you're selling a service, you're offering a service, you're doing something that people are paying you for, okay? Remember what I said last week? Business is just offering a solution for value and you get paid for it. So if you choose that you're going to be in service business, what is that service that you're going to offer? If you choose that for you, you can be able to buy bulk things from manufacturers and resell them to retailers. That is distribution, okay? So you find a lot of people buying things wholesale, yeah? And then they go and buy to retailers. And I see a lot of people going downtown, buy things and then come and sell them uptown at a good margin. That's also another business type opportunity that you can consider. The other one is retailing to customers, yeah? So you buy something that is already made and you've identified where you can get it at a fair price and then you sell it at a higher price. One of the books that I like recommending and that I loved reading is The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. And he gives a story of how different people, okay, so they're having financial challenges and different ways that help them to get out of their situations. And one of them, he was giving a scenario where someone just identified where they can buy something very cheaply and sell it to another place at a favorable price. That is business. As long as you can make a margin, then that is business. Of course, if you cannot make a margin, then you're just being a good Samaritan. That is not business. So for the businesses that you identified last week, or you've been identifying or considering, which of the 4 spaces can you map them? Are you going to be in the make category, or in the do category, or in the distribute category, in the sell category? So for Zadok Associates, we are more in the do, we offer the service, but we also sell QuickBooks accounting software. So which means I buy the accounting software wholesale price. So I'm also doing the wholesale as well. So for the consultancy and training is more on the do side of things. And then the accounting software buying, bulk and selling to individuals or companies that need the software, that is wholesaling. And I also do that also for more and more. I import plants and I import pots bulk and then I sell. I sell some at the shop and I sell some to other people who are going to resell. So I also do retailing for the flowers as well and for the pots. So I play along those 2, 3, 4 lines for my businesses. Manufacturing, I haven't yet gone to the level of manufacturing, but it's also an option for you to consider, okay? So opportunities are many, but then you have to choose where do you want to play around? Where do you want to focus on? And sometimes you find that you try something and then you realize, I have a friend who had several outlets for baby clothes. And so recently we were having a conversation. She's saying, I think I'm going to stop this retailing. I want to focus on distribution, so that she gets distribution rights and distributes those products locally in Uganda. So find what is it that works for you. And she was saying when she does wholesaling, she'll have lesser products and fewer employees to hustle around with. Retailing is more intensive in terms of the number of employees that you need to have and the monitoring and management of stock. So you really have to know what is it that suits your business personality, and you go with that. So you've got the business idea, but can you take it through these 5 structural questions, so to speak? What is a specific problem that you're solving? Yeah? What is a specific problem that you're solving? Because if you cannot say that, then there's no need for that business in the first place. Number 2, what exactly are you selling? If it is a good or a service, can you actually articulate it and tell someone, I am selling this? Because if you cannot articulate it, then you cannot do what? You cannot sell it. You should be able to package it in some way. Even if it is a service that you're offering, can you package it in a flyer, give it a price, and sell it to someone. If it's the goods are easier to package because someone sees it and chooses to buy it. So you have to define what exactly you are selling. And number 3, who specifically is paying for this? Because if no one is going to pay for it, then of course you don't have a business. So have you figured who your ideal customer is so that you know how to market yourself to them, how to approach them, even where to find them? And I think some of this we're going to cover on the 4th session, more details of that. Yeah. So you have to know the customer who specifically is paying for this. Remember, today we're talking about validating that business idea. So if you had a good business idea, but then you reach number 3, you're like, I don't think I know who I'm going to sell this for, who's willing to pay for this thing, then it means that your idea has to be rethought again. Number 4, how are you going to make a transaction happen? Okay, how will people pay you? What will you do for people to be able to pay you, for you to exchange the product? How will you sell? Will you sell online, social media? Will you have an outlet to sell from? Will you sell from home? Will you sell, I don't know, wherever? How will you sell so that people are able to pay you? As long as you're not able to exchange your product or service for money, then it means you still don't have a business. The 5th one then is, how does this depend on and impact the local ecosystem? So your business will not be an isolated business case. It's a business that works with other businesses around. So if we use the example last time of the waste garbage collection business. So yes, you've gone and yes, there's a need for collecting garbage. What you exactly are offering is getting garbage from people's home, and the customers are all of us who have kasasiro in our homes and we want to get rid of it. And we are willing for you to come and pick them from our homes and we pay you to do that. But then if you don't have a place to dispose it that is environmentally friendly, it means therefore something is lacking in your business idea. And I think that's one of the challenges that happened. Was it last year? And we had the whole Kitezi saga because a lot of people were just going, garbage collectors were just going and dumping their things there. But other people have created their own dumping fields, or I don't know, there must be a better name than dumping fields. There is a name for it, I can't remember. But you you have to have a place, therefore, that is not making, you're not polluting your environment because of your business. Because if you're polluting the environment because of your business, then that means it's not a good business. Okay. So how do you check that you're a prepared or unprepared entrepreneur? Yeah? Why is a good product not enough for you to run with for your business? I'm giving here 2 examples. Someone approaches someone to say, will you buy my sunflower? And the person's like, we already have a regular supplier. In this case, you're approaching someone who was already having the product, already having someone selling it to them, and you're just asking them, can you buy what they already have? You have to take a lot of effort to convince them, to win them over. Yeah, to win them over. There's a book that I was reading recently, Seven Powers by Hamilton, can't remember the second name. And it was talking about different businesses have different powers that make them run. So if already someone has a supplier that supplies them regularly, and then you want to become a new supplier, how will you overcome that barrier of them switching from their current supplier to you? Either you're playing price or you have to have some power that you're going to leverage for them to be able to come to you. So this person assumed that demand is there, so they did not do research, and probably they spent money on, they bought a loan, they got a loan and spent money on equipment to make the sunflower. But remember last week we said you should not borrow a loan to start a business. Borrow a loan. You should not get a loan to start business. If you're starting, start with your savings, start with what you already have. Only use the loan to expand when you've already confirmed that this business is working. So you're using the loan to expand your business, not to start your business. Because when you're starting, you don't know how it's going to turn out, okay? So when you're unprepared for the particular business, you've not done market research, or you've not done adequate need identification, you've not done researched whether there's competition and how you're going to handle the competition, you have high chances of having your business having a lot of challenges. But if you go and do market research, identify a need, the person on the right-hand side. So they observed a market gap. There were no clothes for preteens. That's an example. And yeah, I was going to give an example. Let me leave that for now. So they observed there's a gap for preteens, and they tested some sketches and took some samples to business owners before they produced, and then they used their savings to do the business to make the samples. Now they were able to get advanced orders from the pre-test and start cash flowing from the samples that they gave. Now, for them, they'll not have stress of paying a loan when they are still testing out, but also they can get feedback from their clients on how to do what, on how to improve on whatever they're offering before they mass scale, they scale up and do mass production. So that business has a higher chance of succeeding than the unprepared business person. So a summary of what we did last week. Ideas come from different areas, okay? Some come from problems. Someone is complaining about something and you identify that, yes, you are the one who can solve this problem, and you take that as a business. Or you could walk around your neighborhood and you find there's a gap somewhere in your neighborhood and you can fill that gap with a business idea. Or it could be a brainstorming with your friends or with your colleagues, and you realize, yeah, actually, there's this particular thing that is not working so well, but we can tweak it around and we make the business better. It was an existing business. We're just improving on it, making it efficient or making it cheaper, making it faster, just making it better. Or you could actually just scan the environment and see that, oh, there are some resources that can be upcycled, okay? That can be upcycled to stop wastage, or can be repurposed, as some of the examples we talked about last week. So last week we talked a lot about different ideas, and so today we are not going to talk too much about that. But I was just bringing this one so that it helps you to feed into the idea validation process. So you generate lots of different ideas from those different things, from a complaint, a gap in your surrounding or in your neighborhood, the environment, or from just regular brainstorming. You generate a lot of ideas. But then these ideas, you have to filter them. You filter these ideas to see which ideas match your skills. Which ideas can you actually work on? You have the resources enough to start on that idea. You start small, starting simple. And then which idea actually goes with your preferred business type? If the idea needs interfacing with people a lot and you are a very introverted person, you'll find that you will struggle. Okay, so you have to see which business actually matches your personality so that you can do it effortlessly without having to learn, how do you say, to adopt a new personality altogether to be able to sell on your business. But of course, you can employ salespeople, you can employ people for the things that you lack to fill in those gaps. But remember, if you're just starting out, you don't start out employing a full-scale team that a corporate company would have had. So you're starting out, you have to start with what you are able to start with, the resources that you already have, a skill that you already have, something that can already work for you. And I was giving an example last time, and I think I'll keep on giving the same example because that's what I know. For the more and more, it started from what I already had at home. I had plants in the garden and started potting them and selling them. So it's already a skill that I had, gardening skill. The resources, the flowers already in my flower bed. I only needed to buy pots, probably, and I didn't have to buy a lot. I bought from the savings that I had. And I just bought a few because I was just starting out the business. But also, it was a business that I enjoyed doing. Remember, it was out of a hobby. So I enjoyed doing it, and it was fun doing it. But on my professional side, the training that I started doing, I used my training skills, okay? which I'd learned over the years of employment, but also my accounting qualifications helped me to already understand what I needed to train and communicate what I needed to train. And I was able to do that. So you do self-assessment against the businesses that you were thinking as possibilities and see which one is it that can match your skills, your resources, and your preferred business type. Because there are different business types. I walked you through the 4 business types. Okay, then the third thing, and that is which you're talking about today, validate the business idea. And you're validating them along 5 pillars that you're going to go into details with more. So ideas require evidence, not just what? Intuition. You can have that gut feeling. It's a cool idea, but also you have to have something that supports it. When I started writing articles about how to become a good accountant and how to manage businesses successfully, I was just writing. But now the feedback that I'll get from social media on my inbox was actually data that provided for me that, hey, yeah, there are all these accountants that needed mentorship. And I got proof that there are people who actually needed mentorship, accountants that needed mentorship. And that gave me the confidence to start the Accountancy 360 program. And as I shared last week, that the first cohort, I had 27 people showing up with a training. So that is just information that I got online. I had the people actually who signed up were 50, who filled in the application form and signed up were 50, but those who came were only 27. So at least I had some substantial data to tell me that this is something that is actually needed. That is actually, it's a potential business that is there that I can actually take advantage of. For the accounting software, what validation did I get? Because I was working a lot with small businesses, helping them to set up their accounting systems, I realized that a lot of them were struggling with manual data capture and tallying to generate reports. Those who had spreadsheets, it was getting messy with the formulas and everything. Now, because I knew how to use an accounting software, QuickBooks, and it was a very user-friendly one, I was able to teach a lot of the companies to do that. But what was happening is I was buying the accounting software from another firm, someone who had a reseller license. And I was buying the licenses from them, not putting any margin, just giving it to the client, and the client using it. I install it, and the client use it. Now, when I started getting a lot of clients who were interested, God put in me the desire to, they say the thought or the desire. We say He's the one who gives us the power to make wealth. Why don't I ask the manufacturer of the software or the developer of the software that I become a reseller here in Uganda? And of course, I put in the application to become a reseller here in Uganda. So it was really something within my competency, within my profession, and that's how I was able to do what? To become a reseller of an accounting software, QuickBooks accounting software specifically. I'm just telling you that sometimes you just have to be alert to things around you, and there's a business opportunity. Yeah. So that is a business opportunity that came from my day-to-day interaction with the clients. Okay. So there are 5 lessons of checking the viability of your business. One is, are you able to define the pain? Of course, that's the problem and the customer. Okay. So what problem exists? Because when there's a problem, it means then you have a customer for that problem. The customer whose problem you're going to be sorting, that is your customer. But apart from that, is there demand? Okay? Is it only one person who had that problem? Or there's actually a market of another person and other people who have the same problem. So you have to quantify the pool of potential demand. What is the market size for this demand? If it is only one person, then of course it's tricky. But you have to check that you have more than one person that might be having this need. Then the next thing is, how is your solution going to be different from what is already existing in the market? How will you differentiate yourself? How will you establish the edge so that you're different from another person? Okay, what makes you different from another person offering the same thing? Unless it's completely new idea altogether, but it means that that idea, most of the time, it is substituting another existing solution for something different. Yeah. Then you have to map the execution. is it possible to actually implement that idea that you have? If it, that is now when you measure the feasibility. But then you have to think of the numbers. As I normally say, if it is not making money, it's just an expensive hobby. So you have to calculate what it's going to cost you to run the business. But then when you charge people for it, when you sell the product or charge people for the service, are you still able to make money out of it? Then that becomes a what? A viable business idea. So put in another word, you have to take them through a stress testing, sort of, yeah? So is the pain real for the client? Apart from the pain being real, can it be scaled, that it has more than one client? But also, can you win by differentiating yourself? Can you actually build that solution? But also, will the math, we say, will the math actually work for it to become a what? A viable business. So you have to isolate a real and frequent pain. So how do you know that? You have to conduct like a customer survey. Not just one person who had the pain, but could you talk to at least 10 to 20 people and see what their feedback is? But these 10 to 20 people should not be your friends and family, because friends and family, yeah, they have a soft spot for you, and they will most probably tell you what you want to hear. So exclude friends and family and go to other people, 10 to 20 of them, and get feedback for that thing that you want to do. Prove that they are currently spending money either, if it is something that's already existing in the market, are they spending money to solve that problem? Are they willing to try to solve it? And you are the solution provider. Confirm that they will be willing to change for your option, to take on your option. Now, from talking to those 10 to 20 people, can you then group them? Like, yes, group them into what is the common, unique common denominator for them. What is that thing that is similar for all of them? Is it their age? Are there a particular age bracket, the people who are willing to take on this service or this product from you? Are they a particular income level? Do they come from a particular location? Are they mostly doing a particular job? So that is what we call having a customer avatar. So when you have a customer avatar, this is my ideal customer, because you cannot exist to serve everybody. Yeah. The Mercedes reseller or Mercedes dealer will not also be Toyota dealer, because they're targeting different people, and you don't want to confuse your customer, your clientele. So when you've decided who your customer is, you can visualize, my customer is this kind of person. That it means that even your pricing, your positioning, your marketing message, everything is going to be for this particular person. So I sell plants. And when I tell people that I sell plants, they're like, there are plants all over the roadside. Those roadside nurseries, there are many plants on the roadside nursery. And you'll wonder, how will someone pass all those roadside nurseries and still go to Maua and more at Garden City or at Metroplex and enter the shop and buy plants? Because the people who come to us are different, are a particular type of people. So they want the comfort to be able to buy the plants within their comfort. There's enough parking space, because most of them tend to be driving. And there's my staff, I don't know if that's a bragging point, they speak English. And they can explain the plants, because I've gone to buy plants by the roadside and someone gives you the wrong plant and they can't explain how to take care of the plant. They can't, all those different things. So we've trained our team. We have a good location. We have all those different things, and all that informs the price of the product. So by the time someone is paying for that product, they're happy to pay for it, and they're differentiated from the person who buys from the roadside. And so someone will come all that way, and they'll not be looking for a plant of 5K or 5,000 or 1,000. You understand? Because the one who wants a plant of 1,000 will be maybe on the roadside. But when I made peace that my customer avatar for plants is this. It means I go out of my way to look for the best plants, to look for the best quality pots, to look for the best trained, not just the best, to look for the stuff that I actually train the staff. You understand? So like you put in the effort to make sure that the packaging are for the customer that you want, that you're targeting. Yes, you can buy a soda from a kiosk, but you can also go buy a soda from Serena. It's still soda, but the price is different. Why? Because the whole experience of consuming that soda is different from standing by a kiosk and drinking the soda and sitting in the nice, refreshing grounds of Serena, the ambience there to take the same soda. Even the people that you interact with there are different. You understand? So for your business, what is your customer avatar? What is that persona that you're seeking to serve? Because that will inform a lot of things. Where you'll position your business, how you do your marketing material, how you do your pricing, all those different things matter. Then ensure that you have enough potential customers, so to speak, yeah? So there could be so many people who can consume that product or service. That's what we call the total addressable market. So it could be the whole of Kampala, for example, the whole of Kampala, if you're in shoe business. So the whole of Kampala is potentially a customer for shoes, right? Because everyone wears shoes. But then the serviceable available market, how many people can actually afford shoes? So it means the number now becomes narrower. But then your particular ones that you're offering, the brand shoes that you're offering, the type of shoes that you're offering, okay? Which is the one that you can actually service? Now that is the one that is yours that you now target. And you check, is there a growing demand for that service that you want to offer for that clientele, your customer avatar? Or it is a one-off fad that it comes and goes. If it's a one-off fad, it is not sustainable. But if it is something that has potentially to grow in demand, it means therefore that's a viable business. It is not a one-time, what do you say? A one-time wonder, one-off, yeah. There used to be a welding, it's called a welding workshop some years back. On my way from work or to work, I used to see, it was called 24-hour workshop or something like that. But that workshop would be open like 1 month. You see, they're really, really, really busy. They used to make things that, you know, this booths for airtime, for airtime and airtime. Agent banking, mobile, for mobile money and Airtel, you know, those booths. So I think the person got a contract to just do, you know, booths. And he did those booths, I think, for a month or a couple of months, and then the workshop closed. It's like he got a one-off contract and did it, and it closed. Now that means that's not a sustainable business. So it means for whichever business you want to go into, can there be a sustainable demand for it, not a one-off wonder that comes and just goes. So then what then do you need to do? You'll find that for most businesses, there is already competition. If you think there's no competition, maybe you just not looked harder. Yeah. So just check the business that you want to do. Is there already competition? And I'm challenging you as a takeaway assignment for the business you've identified. Can you list at least 5 direct competitors? Yeah. 5 direct competitors. Apart from the competitors, there could be substitutes. Someone who might not be your direct competitor, but the substitute is something that will take away business from you because people are taking the substitute as an alternative. Could you also identify at least 5 potential substitutes for the business that you want to go into? After that, look at your offering and decide, why will people leave your 5 competitors or more competitors? Why will they forsake the potential substitutes and come to you? Now that will be your unique selling point. That will be your unique value proposition. As I was saying, how will people walk through all those roadside nurseries and still come all the way to a Maua and More outlet? What is that? That sets Maua and More apart from its direct competitors. What is it that sets Maua and More apart from the indirect substitutes are the plastic, I call it plastic plants, eh? So what are those things that differentiates it, that will differentiate your business? Because that is what will keep you going. Okay. So if you're starting out a business, especially if you're starting with a product, services are a bit easier to start. But if you're starting with a product, you have to start at least with what we call a minimum viable product. You know, that you can give the market to test, a sample. Yeah? You give them to test, and then the feedback is good. If the feedback is not good, you keep on improving it until the feedback is good, and then now you do what? And now you can scale it up. Now, when you have the minimum viable product and you go and you test it around and people actually give you pre-orders, pre-sales, then that is good. So if you can get the minimum viable product with some pre-sales, then it means you can have people signing up for your product or people paying up for your product, things like that, okay? So you have to test the market. I normally say if you cannot sell a single product of the one that you want to offer, then you have no business. It starts with that one sale. That is what tells you that someone is willing to do what? To exchange their money for your product or for your service. So you have to then map the operational and technical reality of your business idea. Do you have the technical expertise? Do you have the resources that is needed for that? Do you have the skills? Is the technology that you might need available today? The equipment, the suppliers, are they available? In terms of operations, do you have the right staffing? Maybe you start with things that don't need a lot of staffing or complex staffing. What are the requirements for your business? Do you need a physical location? If you need a physical location, can you start humbly from home and then grow later? Or, as now social media has allowed, people actually have a lot of online businesses that they just do delivery. Because most people just buy online and then you just deliver to them. So how are you going to operationalize your business? Okay, it's very, very important for you to define that. But beyond that, what are the legal and compliance requirements for your business? If we go with the example of garbage collection, I believe there is a license that you might need for what? For that business. So whichever idea that you have chosen, you have to do some homework and find out what are the regulatory hurdles that I have to overcome for this particular business. Are there any restrictions, licenses? As I said, I import some plants, but to import plants, I need an import permit. You understand? So I had to learn, how do I get import permit? Where do I get import permit? How do I pay for the import permit? So you have to understand for the business that you're doing. But of course, if I was not willing to go through the hurdle and hassle of getting the import permits, I'll just remain with my local, locally available plants. So then for your business, you have to know, does it need any licensing? If they are, where, how do you get it? Okay? So that's the reality check that you have to have for your business. Again, it's those three criteria to check, is it feasible? I hope as you're going through this, you're thinking in your head, is my business feasible? Are there licenses that I need? Are there, even for example, accounting. So I'll just give things that for me in my field that I know. So in accounting, if you do the accounting qualification, you can become a financial management consultant, as I've opted to be. You can become an auditor. But if you become an auditor, there's a particular license that you need from the Institute of Certified Public Accountants to run an audit firm. You understand? So then you have to know then, okay, if I want to go through that, am I willing to go through that hurdle, the regulatory requirements for that? So you have to know for whatever business you're doing, is there some regulatory requirements for that? Even something as simple as making juices. If you're making juices, you're making them from home and they're nice juices. Yeah, you can sell to your friends and family, fine. But the day you want to go and sell them in the supermarkets, you need some quality mark or some certification from UNBS, I believe. You need some licenses or something to comply with. So you have to determine, where do you want to play in your business? Most of the time, if you're shy to comply to the different restrictions and regulatory requirements, you find that your business, help me to mute that person. You'll find that your
Daniel, please
business,
mute.
you'll find that your business,
Lilian,
you'll
kindly
find,
make me a co-host.
Hey, did the rights move again?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll have to leave. Yeah, just a minute.
Daniel, please, Viaka Daniel, please mute.
Looks like, yeah. Okay, I've made you co-host again. Thank you. Where was I? Yeah, so for every business, the bigger that you want it to grow, the more the regulatory requirements that you may be exposed to, and you have to be willing to partake. As I told you last week, that you can never comply backwards for some things, yeah? So you have a good tender coming through, a good bid coming through, and then they ask you for your tax compliance certificate, and you've never paid any taxes, you understand? And I remember when we were starting out more and more at an earlier time, I'll get people, because there are many people who do plans at their homes, and I'll get people saying, no, I got this particular company asking me to supply them plans, but now they're asking for an invoice. I don't have an invoice. They're asking for a tin. I don't have a tin. They're asking for ABCD. I don't have ABCD. So you find that you end up missing business opportunities because you're just fearing to do what? To register for a trading license. You're fearing to register for a tin number. So a lot of the times you find that there are some legal compliance requirements that you might need for your business to grow. When you're starting out, of course, start as small as you can. But if you want the business, remember we are saying you start small but think big. You have to think, how then do I comply to the regulatory requirements that I have? We supplied, at some point, we were supplying, was it Total? Total, their offices, we're supplying them with plans. So we're excited, we got this order, we supplied Total. Time for paying, they said, now there's something called the National Supplier Database for everyone supplying anything to the oil sector. Now we have to go into the National Supplier Database. And then there's a whole list of bring this, bring that, bring this, bring that. But thank God that from the time we started out, we were deliberately making sure that we have the compliant documents that we needed for the different things. And I'm looking back 12 years now and I'm seeing, if I'd not taken the compliance steps early, there's a lot of business opportunities that I've done what I would have missed. So I'm just encouraging those who are fearing to get TIN numbers and to get trading licenses. A lot of businesses are there for people who have done the right thing. Okay, so my cursor has frozen. Okay, after doing all that, you have to do what you call the sanity check that people normally call the unit economics. Yes, you're going to sell your products, good. But if you remove the cost of production, of producing it and running your whole business, do you actually still have something left over? Now, remember, we are talking about starting business ideas, so which means you have your startup costs, cost of starting up your business, then the cost of running your business. If you add up all the money you're going to make from the sales and you remove all these different costs, will you still actually have a margin? Okay, so they recommend that you have to see that this particular thing you're going to go into, it has a lifetime value that is more than the cost of actually getting that particular client on board. So for example, which example can I give? So for example, I sell accounting software. Now, if I sell accounting software to the people that I'm selling to, how long do I hope that they'll keep on subscribing to the accounting software? Okay. So if I assume that they'll be subscribing to the accounting software for 3 years, I'll multiply how much I'm getting from them times 3. That will be my lifetime value if I think they will only subscribe for 3 years. But then how much did I put in to get that customer? The cost of acquiring that customer. Advertising, calling them, writing proposals, driving to them to talk to them, all those different things. The cost of converting that customer, that is my cost of that particular business. So if the business idea that you're choosing, your ideal customer, how long will they be with you? Will they be buying once in a while or will they be buying regularly? Okay. So compare that money you're getting from that customer over the lifetime of engaging with them and the cost that you incurred to do what? To acquire that customer. Ideally, it should be more the cost, I mean, the money you'll get from that customer over their lifetime of dealing with them should be more than the money that you use to acquire a customer for the same product or the same service. But assuming that, yes, you've decided you're going in manufacturing, which means then you have to build some, buy some equipment, build some infrastructure and things like that. How long will it take for you to get your money back? Yeah. When you start selling that product, how long will it take for you to get your initial startup cost and initial investment back? So those are some of the considerations you have to make. At the end of the day, when will you break even? Okay. So in the sector that you're going to, you have to know, is this one a sector that takes long to break even? Is it a sector that is easy to break even? Okay, I'm not going into a lot of details for that because that's like a whole thing altogether. And this session was just about validating business ideas. So how then do we go about this? The problem that you're trying to solve, is there evidence that yes, it's an existing problem? So you score between 1 to 5, yeah? If there's no evidence, I mean, no evidence is on the lower side of the score, yeah? If you have definitive proof, is the higher side of the score. So if the people who have that pain point that you're solving, there are few. So you map them. Is it like 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? You score it. If you have definite proof, you score a 5. If it is you're not sure, you score a 1 or somewhere you can gauge it. The market, is it a market that has potential for scaling? You also score in a score of 1 to 5. How do you gauge the market for your business idea? The solution that you're providing, yeah, is it a solution that differentiates you from your competition, makes you stand out, and you'll not lose your customers to substitute? Can you map that also on a scale of 1 to 5? The feasibility, okay? So is this something that actually you can scale up or you cannot scale it up? If you can scale it up, then also score on a scale of 1 to 5. The business model, will it actually make you money? How you're going to run it. If you're going to go into manufacturing, if you're going to go into retail, in wholesaling, providing a service, whatever angle you decide to play in your business, will it actually be a profitable venture? Okay, because many times when you do business, I see people looking at, oh, I bought this. What example can I give? So let's say I bought a soda at 1,000. I'm selling the soda at 1,500. Oh, I've made a margin of 500 shillings per soda. But remember, that 500 shillings per soda times, let's say the bottles of soda you sold, let's say they are 100. That amount of money should then consider, I'm going to pay my rent from there. I'm going to pay my workers from there. I'm going to pay my transport costs and utilities, everything from there. Will I still have something left after that? So most of the time we just look at I bought this at this price, I sold it at this price. But beyond that level of I bought this at a lower price, sold it at this price, the margin that you have there, will it cover your cost of running the business and it be sustainable? That is something for you to do what? To consider. So once you've mapped your score between 1 to 5 against those 5 parameters, can you total your score? Okay, so that's a takeaway homework for you to go and do. Once you do that, if your score gives you a total score on those 5 parameters, gives you between 20 and 25, go deeper. Means that the evidence supports an aggressive validation and resource allocation. So that's more like a go-ahead green light. I think, let's say, green light for you to proceed on. It's a viable business idea, and by all means, go ahead and try it out. But if your score is between 15 to 19, when you total all the parameters, those 5 parameters, then it means that you need to refine your business idea, isolate the low scoring parts of the validation score, and get more data before you proceed. Yeah. So that you check, okay, maybe did I miss on the market something? Did I miss on the business model? Maybe I changed the business model, I tweaked the business model. Maybe the feasibility, how do I start small and scale later? You have to see how then to refine the business idea. But if the total score aggregated for those 5 parameters is less than 15, then you really need to rethink. Rethink, or as we say, you pivot. Yeah. there's too much friction in this one. If you're scoring below 15, do not commit any further resources to the current iteration. So assuming that you already had a minimum viable product, took it to the market, you got feedback, and again reiterated it, you got more feedback, but still when you plotted it in those 5 lenses, you're still scoring less than 15, you put your money elsewhere. And I think last week, when to answer Elijah's question of if I had a business that did not succeed, I gave you the telemedicine thing that we're trying out. We went to market, we got the feedback, we reiterated, but then somewhere the unit economics were not working, and we decided, you know what, let's cut our losses before it is too late. Okay. Yes. So up to there, is there any question on validating business idea? Or you can type the question in the chat so that we can take it on later, because I wanted to go now into how then do you have a basic business plan? Okay, and I'm seeing time is not on my side, so maybe I just proceed to the next one. If you have a question, please just type it in the chat so that Elijah will pick it up so that I can go to the next part. So yes, I said more and more I did not have a business plan, but I'm not saying don't have a business plan. Why didn't I have a business plan? It's because I was having fun. It was a hobby. Number 2, I was bootstrapping. It was my own money. So there was no much risk of losing the money. And so I did not need a business plan, because most of the time the business plan you're giving someone else to explain to them what you need to do, or you need to recruit a team, you need to get finances, you need to get different resources. Now for me, I was just leisurely having fun and the business came. But if you're intending to have other people part of your business, then you have to put your mind down together so that you can communicate, you have a common vision that you can share with them, okay? So if you're not starting from a hobby like me, you're starting from an idea that you want to scale, please have a business plan. And I'm going to use analogy of like a building, a structure, yeah? So that you can see the foundation, you can see the importance of each of those pillars. This is the foundation, which means if I get it wrong, this business is not going to hold. Or maybe this one is just the facade. The facade, I can change how it looks, or the roof, I can change the type of roof and stuff like that. But how then do you have an investor-ready business plan? And remember, I said basic. That's the keyword. So it looks like this. It has 7 parts. And also what I'm going to do, I don't know if you are in the professionals group, but normally I send the things to Mr. Emmanuel Mata. I'll send like a business plan template that you can fill in. So it has like the 7 sections, and it has notes in red that tell you here, this is what you put here, here, this is what you put here, and you just fill it in. You just fill it in. So it's a Word document that you can fill in. Okay. So the first thing is to have the executive summary. Yeah? So the executive summary is just like on the face that just summarizes. You see, it just looks like if you go to a building, you just see like the finished product. You don't see all the plumbing behind it. You don't see the foundation. You're just seeing up here. So the executive summary is just giving you the face of what your enterprise or what your business is about. Okay. Then the second thing is now the foundation, which is I'm just the numbers are the order of how they appear on your business plan. Yeah, is you have to say what is your value proposition, and as you can see, that one is on the foundation. The importance you give it is the importance you give on a foundation of a building. Yeah, because if your value proposition is not tight, is not good, is not compelling, yeah, your chances of getting funding is very, very limited. Okay, so it is that value proposition that makes you stand out from your competitors, make you stand out from your substitutes. Then the third thing that you'll have is now, okay, fine. You have your value proposition. You've defined what your impact is going to be if it's a community-oriented business idea. But then how will you go to market? Who are your customers? Yeah? Who are your customers? How will you go to them? How will you meet them? But also you have to show that you know who your competitors are, because if you assume that I've gone sometimes to hear people pitch and then they say there's no competition for this idea, I'm telling you there's no idea that has no competition, only that you've not discovered that competition already. So it means you have to do more homework. If you think you have no competition for your business, just do more homework. So you have to show that, yes, you're alert to your competition, and therefore, how are you going to stand out and be different from them? The fourth thing is, what's your team? Because the team now says, this is my team of people that are going to deliver on this value proposition. And it has to show that you have the competent team, either of people you're going to employ, or they could be strategic partners, or they could be advisors. They don't have to necessarily be on your payroll, yeah? But you have to show that, yes, I have Elijah Magor as my lawyer. If I need any legal counsel, I'm going to consult him, not necessarily that he's on your payroll. But you have to show on the business plan that you have, this is your team composition, because that makes the sum total of the power of your the minds behind the whole idea, the projects, excuse me. Your number 5. So how are you going to actually operate this business? Yeah, you know, the plumbing in a building, you hardly see it. The plumbing in a building is something that is not visible. It's hidden inside the slab somewhere in there. But it's very, very important, because if you do not have your good operations and marketing plan well articulated, then it means that something is going to be leaking, something is going to be missing. So you have to have known what is your tech requirements, if they are there, what are your manufacturing requirements, if they are there, what are your value chains, if they are there, so that you show how it all connects together. Otherwise, you'll go and open the tap and water is not coming through because there's a clog in the plumbing line somewhere. That's number 5, yeah? Number 6, you have to be alert to potential risks for this business. You can't say, oh, my business is fireproof. No potential problems. So you have to be aware that, yes, I may have some potential problems, and doing a SWOT analysis is normally a good thing to do. I have potential problems, and this is how I am going to mitigate them. And these are the timelines for that. And the 7th is the maths, which most entrepreneurs don't like. They are number 4 big, but you cannot be in business and afford to be number 4 big. So you have to say, what are your financial assumptions? Because they are part of the foundation, as you can see. They're the ones that make the whole thing hold up. Yeah. What are the assumptions for the sales projections that you're having? Now, for you to generate those sales, what are the cost of producing them, or the cost of generating those sales? What are the operational overheads that you're going to have? All these different things come to bear. Because if the numbers don't match, then your business, as you can see, the foundation, if it's shaky, it will not hold. So that's the summary, like in a structural anatomy, so to speak, of a business plan. It has 7 parts, and the Word document that I'm going to share has the 7 parts if you want to go through that. And it gives you a step-by-step guide on how to complete each of them. So to summarize them, each of those sections, your enterprise structure, who is currently on your team, I've already said this. Do they have, so for you as the business owner, or the founder, the builder of this project or this idea, who is currently on your team? But the person who is seeking to fund you is like a building inspector, yeah? The investor. They'll look at this team and say, do they have the exact expertise for that business idea that you're having? You say now you want to go in a particular sector. Do you have the competence to go into that sector? That's what they're going to look into before they fund your business idea. Your value proposition. For you, the founder, what are your products? Why are your products the ones that people should choose? Why are they the preferred product to go to and leave all the other products in the shelf? And for the investor, your potential investor, is this a defensible moat against existing alternatives? That this covers you from competition, that you can actually have a stand. I mean, you have a chance to fight it out if you face the competition and come out, unscathed, so to speak. The financial assumptions. You as a business owner, you're concerned with how much money will you make, but the investor is thinking, okay, you put there your growth assumptions. Are they realistic? Your customer acquisition costs, are they actually realistic, or they are just, things that are not, cannot be substantiated? Okay. Risk. You as a business owner, think, what might go wrong? Because something goes wrong without an appointment normally. The investor wants to see, are you self-aware enough to pivot in case assumptions fail? Especially people who are in the venture capital sector, they fund a lot of businesses, and they fund them knowing that some of them will fail. But they want to see that you, when you're going into that business, are you aware that they could fail? And if you're aware, what mitigation measures do you have before you go into the business? Okay, so the executive summary, I'm just repeating it. You are giving a short summary of the operations of the business. The details are going to come in the later sections. And then the mission, the why. What is the core reason for the existence of your business? Because there are many other businesses that could be similar to that particular one. On your product or service, what is the specific offering for your product? But when you want the funding, you have to be very specific. Summarize what you need, both for capital requirements for your business and for if you need any others beyond capital requirements. If you need working capital, you have to say that. But also, are you willing to get someone to give you a loan that is debt, then you pay them back after a period of time? Or equity means that they become a shareholder in your business. Yeah? They give you the money, then they wait when they start making a profit, you pay them dividends or you pay them some profit sharing if you agree on some profit sharing agreement. The second bit, which was on the value proposition, define what makes you stand out from everybody else. What sets your entire enterprise apart from all the other companies in the same industry producing most likely the same product? Okay, so defining your unit level utility is very, very important. You can provide a summary in the executive, in the executive summary, but you have to go into detail and say what will make that product unique and what will customers inherently make them choose you over the alternative that is out there. Okay, so the problem that you're solving, it has to be profitable. If it is not profitable, it's an expensive hobby. So then your numbers therefore have to show that it is actually going to be profitable. But apart from being profitable, is it meeting some societal needs? But also, is it planet friendly? Is it environment friendly? Okay, you're not doing it at the expense of what? Of the environment. Okay. So beyond the basic utility, describe the precise problem that is being solved. Do customers actually need the product? Is it a better product they need, or do they need a cheaper product, or they just need a more convenient location to buy the product that they've always been buying? Describe why they actually are going to buy from you. When it comes now to the market, so remember, there are all these different people who are cake eaters, for example, yeah? So the whole population can eat cake. But then there's this particular part of the population that they eat gluten-free cake. I discovered that when I had a friend who was a baker. They are gluten-free cake, which means that they don't use wheat to make the cake. And then they're egg-free cake, like they make the cake without eggs. I'm telling you, permutations of people's needs are out there. And so she had a small niche that she was addressing, and people were actually buying them. But then that became her customer avatar, that small segment size that was specific for the people that she was going to meet. And she decided, this is my niche and this is where I'm going to stick to it. Yeah. So for your business, do you have a niche, or you're going to sell to everybody that is passing by? So it's very, very important to know who you're going to sell to, because that way you differentiate yourself. As you've said, you have to be aware of your competitors and do a competitor analysis. So you have different competitors. There are those who are selling cheaper than you or more expensive than you, higher quality than you or lower quality than you. All those different things, you have to plot them and see where are you playing at, yeah? Are you playing at the low price end? Are you playing at the high premium price end? Quality end? Where are you playing? And you see where there is a space for you to thrive and position yourself. Going a bit fast because I'm seeing time is gone. Your partners and your business, as I said, you have to list the people that you're going to work with, yourself included, yeah, their skills, their experience, their specific roles in your enterprise, but also show if there's a potential gap. Right now, I need this particular person, but I don't have them, but I'm aware that I might need them and I might fill that position in the future. But also, if you have other experts that are not necessarily in your payroll, in your internal management structure, but they're external people. Yeah, you have a spouse who has a marketing expertise and you don't have. Okay, you enlist them, or someone who is in your team of advisors. Okay, you list to show that I have this accountant, I have this legal counsel, I have this mentor, I have all these different things. The operation strategy is very, very important. Do you have particular tools that you will need? If, let's say, yes, you're getting customers. If you're getting this customer, how do you track the customers that you're getting? How do you generate leads and then track those leads? Then how do you convert them? If you're in distribution business or manufacturing, how will you sell, go to market? How will you sell your products? How will you distribute your products? Are there some internal things that you need, a point of sale, if you're a retailing business, for example? So you have to know for your operations, a manufacturing operation has more robust and more detail of the things that they need than a service business. You understand? So the service business, you might find, like now for me offering accounting services, I just need an accounting software, for example. But someone in manufacturing, or they will need something for their inventory management. They need a lot of different things. So you have to know what for your business is. Now, in your business idea, do you have suppliers? If you have them, can you list them? Can you map them out? In your operations, what are you actually going to do internally, by who and how, the timelines for that. If you're going to be a distributor, how is your logistic chain going to work so that people don't run out of stock because you have a truck is stuck somewhere? How will you reach your clients? Okay, so from the raw material to production to the end client, you map the whole value chain and see how to make sure that it runs smoothly. Now, you're going to make money. So as you make money, okay, how will you get the people who are buying to come to you? Is it advertising? Is it through content creation? Is it word of mouth? Is it referrals? Is it door to door? Is it getting a microphone and shouting in the street? I don't know, whichever it is. So you have to define how you're going to create all this awareness that now later on becomes a funnel that you can convert. Because not everybody who hears about your product can be converted to become what? Your customer. That's a whole topic on marketing altogether. But the point is, you have to know how will you get your customers and how will you create awareness to your customers and how will you convert the customers that can actually stay with you. I talked about the SWOT analysis is very important for your business. Know what your strengths are as a business, the opportunities that you have in your business, the weaknesses that you need to work on, and the potential threats that you have to do what? You have to mitigate. And when you're doing the business plan, you have to show that, yes, you're the good person, the right person to actually do this particular business. So if you've had a track record previously, please write it down. Yes, previously I've been able to do this, and this is my past, but also this is my future. What's the roadmap for the future and the milestones along the way, okay? So you have to establish some performance metrics that are important to understand how your whole business is going to be. And when they see your past performance, they can extrapolate and assume, okay, if this person was a former ABCD, they can use the same skill set to take this business to another level. Finally, the maths, yeah? How were you putting together the numbers to say, okay, I am projecting to make this many sales? Okay, on what basis do you come up with those figures? This will be my costs. If I cover this cost, my profits are going to be this. Okay, because the person investing in your business wants to see if it's a profitable business. If I was to put that money in go and buy government bonds, and I'm forsaking that opportunity to come and put money in your business, is it going to give me a better return? So you have to be able to convince them that, yes, your business is a better opportunity for them to go and invest in. So you have to show the logic of your revenue. How did you do the revenue projection? I give details. Is it from research or just estimate from, the existing businesses? What is your growth trajectory, profitability, what's that? But for the money that you're asking for, how are you going to allocate it? How much is going to go for business development, for operations, for marketing, all those different things? So investors, don't just look at the final numbers. They actually interrogate the assumptions that are used to do what? To build the numbers. So don't just go put the numbers there. I like how Vusi normally says that every business plan always shows that the figures, the numbers are always, the curve is always going up. No one is going to present a business plan that the curve is going down. Yeah. So all business plans always have a positive trajectory. But then the investor has to check and confirm that are this trajectory actually solid? Okay. Someone said that sometimes the business doesn't go according to plan. So the business plan doesn't go according to plan. Be ready for that. Now, to summarize this, there's something called business model canvas, which I think some of you have been exposed to. It's like just a one-pager that gives you a view, a picture, an aerial view of how your business is going to be. Okay. You can get it online. But I'm just going to give you an example of two. One for a business that sells products, how they filled it. And so this is a business that sells clothes line, yeah, not clothes line. It's a clothes selling business that sells clothes. Assume like it's a boutique. So their customer segment, you see these things have numbers. It's number 1, 2, 3. I hope you can see them. So now, they say, what is their customer segment? Remember, I was telling you about your customer avatar. So for them, they're specifically saying it is for men, women, and children. I think that's basically everybody. Is there someone who is not either a man, woman, or a child? Anyway, so that is their customer segment. And then the second thing is, what is their value proposition? Their value proposition is fashionable clothes, accessory, great e-commerce experience, because they are mostly buying their things online, but they also wanting to have a flagship store and have fast fashion. That is the value proposition for their clients. And the third one is, how then will they reach out to their clients? They're going to have a direct store. You see the channels, that is, they have a direct store, they have an online presence, but also they have social media that they're going to use. The fourth thing is, where's the fourth thing? I'm not seeing number 4, my eyes. How are they going to maintain their customer relationships? Okay, so because they're going to have a storefront, the personnel that they're dealing with the customers, their online engagement on social media. But then nowadays, there are a lot of people who don't actually come to physical stores. They just stop at social media. So how you relate with them there will determine whether they buy your products or not. The fifth is number 5. My number 5 has disappeared. The revenue streams is, how are you going to make money? They're going to make money by selling clothes and accessories. The sixth thing is, what are the key resources that they are going to need? The key resources they need is stock, of course, for the things they are selling, a large network of stores because they want to have several outlets, but a strong brand. Because if you're going to be the face of fashionable clothes, they have to have a strong brand that people can follow. And the seventh thing is, what are the key activities they're going to do? Apparently, they're going to design and manufacture some of their clothes, but they also have to distribute, and they have to have good channels for distributing their clothes. And the eighth thing, they are going to partner with other people, other providers for their accessories, and a holding company that they have. Those are their key partners. So I hope as you go through that, you can see now for your business how you map it. And finally, when all this is said and done, what is it going to cost them? Yeah, what is it going to cost them to deliver on the value proposition to the clients that they want, their customer segment, using the channels that they have, maintaining the relationship that they propose to maintain, and carrying on the activities that they hope to carry while having the key resources? They need money for rent, they need money for payroll, they need money for the different expenses associated with the sale of their products. So this is a product-based business canvas, but then there's a service-based one. I believe Netflix is popular with many people. So if someone were to do a business model canvas is like a business plan. fancy way of saying a business plan, but a small, short, easy to see. Yeah? So for Netflix, their customer segment is mass market. Their value proposition is on-demand video, huge selection of content, original content. So they say competitive price point because you're paying per subscription. Their channels, their website and app store and affiliate partnerships. How are they going to maintain customer relationship? They're going to be, it's a self-service. So rarely do you need to talk to someone at Netflix. So it's a self-service platform. And where is number 5? Is their revenue stream. How are they making money? Through subscriptions. And their key resources, number 6, is they need streaming rights. They need, of course, good internet bandwidth and recommendation for algorithms, because you'll see when you watch a movie, it will propose other movies. They see this one likes this kind of movies, it proposes others. So the algorithm is what works to propose those movies for you. Number 6, where are you? Number 6. That was number 6, right? Oh, number 7. What are the key activities? Content creation, application development, and third-party licensing, of course, for the movies. Number 8, the key partners they need is a good internet service provider and third-party studios. But what will all this cost them? They need in-house content production people, they need third-party licenses. All those are money, things they have to put money towards. They need streaming application, they need staff, they need maintenance, okay? So for your business, how do you map them along those 9 areas of a business model compass? And you can actually online get a free one that you can fill in and just have a feel before going to a big business plan. Just have like your key thoughts on the different areas for your business. When you plot that on a business canvas, then it's easy now for you to transfer it to a more elaborate business plan. Okay, sorry, time has overshot, but your next step is simple. Draft your basic business plan. Over to you, Elijah.
Thank you, Lilian. That has been the equivalent of an MBA. Thank you very much. At least there is all the evidence that you've prepared for us. And it's actually a good thing that you've overshot the time. It means that you over-prepared. So we are grateful. For those who joined us, this is actually a 4-part series, and this is part 2. In case you missed part 1, the recording is available. Maybe we shall arrange with the Deliverance Church Makere Hill media team to make these available, maybe on the church YouTube channel, so that it's easier for people to get. Otherwise, the sessions have been recorded, including this one. We are out of time, but there is a question that came through that I would want you to answer. And it was a simple question that, are there times when an idea is too early for its time, so it can fit all these things, but it's just too early for its time? Is there such a thing of businesses failing because of someone thinking ahead of time? And then maybe related to it is there are all these steps you have shared. So when you're starting a business, sometimes it is practically impossible to tick all these boxes, compliance, etc., etc. What are some of the pointers to a business that it is time to upgrade? So I know you in your sharing, you said you started from home. What are those things that told you that now it is time to move to commercial premises? Yeah, if you could answer those and also give your parting shots thereafter.
Thank you, Elijah. Can a business idea be too early for its generation? I think it can. It can. Maybe the implementation of it. I remember I think a quote by Mark Zuckerberg. He was saying that if he had to understand what it needed for him to connect like all these different people, he would not have started Facebook in the first place. But him, at that time, he was just meeting a particular need. If you watch that movie, I think it's called The Social Network. Can't remember, I think. So if you watch that movie, him and his friends at the I was using the word dorm. I don't know. I think they call it dorm, like your dorm campus room. They're just trying to see how do we like, link each other together as campuses and, organize our events and everything. So just connecting themselves within their own campus. That's how the whole idea started. Then when it worked for their campus, it went to other campuses. And now the whole world is connected, not just on Facebook, but on all the other meta things. So at that, if we choose to look at that particular point, what am I solving, and focus on what am I solving, then I think it will never be too early for its time. Only that you might find that someone else has the same idea, but its presentation or its value proposition is different. Before Facebook, you'll hear that there are so many other people who had something, an idea like that, but it did not work. But it takes that one person who has all the configurations right. The timing is right for them. Okay, so just answer the question. Yeah, so there could be something like it's too early for its timing, not necessarily for this generation, but for the timing. So you could be either too early, or too late. Yeah. So you have to kind of do some research. But from what I've figured, at least in my little interaction with businesses and business owners, and even listening to a lot of podcasts on businesses, you might find that the business idea might not necessarily be early. It is the implementation of it that might be different. And that's why we talk about pivoting. So you say, okay, maybe I'm starting in this component of this business, but then I might later on reiterate it to another version of it. I don't know if I've answered your question. But to answer the question of, yes, you may not tick all the boxes. And last time I said it's like buying a shoe. If you're young, you always buy the next size. The baby starts with a tiny shoe, and then you feel now the shoe is pinching me. I go to the next size, I go to the next size until you reach a size where now your leg stops what? Your leg stops growing. And for me, starting from home, as I said, I was just having fun. And as people kept on buying, one thing led to another one. So I was selling plants from my garden in plastic pots. And people would buy, and then they would demand for more plants, and I will get more plants. And then one time, what did I do? One time I potted my plants in some clay pots. I posted them online. Then there was demand for that. And then there was one thing after another one kept on growing. So you feel the pulse of your business, feedback from your clients, actually. The feedback from your clients tells you, I need to scale up. I need to add more products or more services. And as you keep on hearing the feedback from your clients, the feedback from the market as well, and so that you're not obsolete, and the feedback even from your staff, by the way, your staff can also give you feedback. So you keep on scaling slowly. I did not set up all the 3 outlets at once. I started from home, and then I opened the first outlet. As I say, it was a small ATM size room. And then now I filled up the space even up to outside. Then I knew, okay, if I can afford this rent, then I can be able to afford rent for a bigger thing. So for a startup, it's better if the business is growing from its profits than for you borrowing money to grow the business fast. And because now the business was growing, it was able to afford more products, more employees, and bigger space. And as it keeps on doing that, it means it's growing organically, but also it's growing with a stronger foundation than starting out and deciding I'm opening 5 outlets of this. Okay? So yeah, start small and keep on growing, I think in the 4th session, we'll share more details of like step by step on some of those. Yeah, step by step on some of those. I think the parting shot is think big, but start small. Because when you start small, If there's something that you need to reiterate, you're reiterating it at a small scale, not overhauling the whole product line. When you start small, I give an example of, an anthill. An anthill, okay, maybe I think they're big anthills, but normally anthills tend to be small. If you're falling from an anthill, the fall is not as thunderous and as fatal than if you're falling from high up a mountain. Yeah. So it means you start small. As you keep on understanding and consolidating your efforts, you keep on building on that, you keep on building on that. And then you wake up 20 years later and you have a successful business. As we said last week, overnight success takes 20 years. Thank you, Elijah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lilian. We are grateful. And again, like I said, this is part 2. We shall have part 3 next week on Wednesday. Our time is fast spent. Thank you for staying with us. I hope you've benefited as much as I have. I now want to invite the team leader, the president, the chairman of the Professionals Fellowship of Deliverance Church, Makere Hill, to make a few remarks and also close this meeting.
Sorry, maybe Elijah,
Emmanuel?
before that, I've just posted the
Yes.
business plan template in the, what is it called? The chat, eh? Someone asked for it. Yeah, I posted it there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deacon Elijah. Thank you, Zodak Associates, Lilian. Thank you so much, all the people who have been able to log in. We believe that the Lord has a lot for us during this time. And so as a ministry of professionals, we felt it would be good to start this initiative and see how far the Lord will take us. In the next few days, we shall be sharing the terms of reference that will guide your pitch. And we are going to make an official announcement asking people now to start submitting their pitches. We believe that the Lord is in this work that we are doing, and his name will be glorified. Thank you so very much for your time. Thank you for being patient. May the Lord bless you and have a good night. Elijah.
Okay, we'll share in the words of the grace. May the grace
of our Lord Jesus Christ
and the love of God
and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all now and
forever.
Amen. Amen. God bless you.
Amen.